What's up, everybody? It's your girl D here with 8th House Energy, and I'm here to bring you the this is December 2021 astrological analysis. So, for those of you who are not familiar with the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we use tarology, combination of tarot and astrology, but I use other divination tools as well to just decipher the messages the collective wants you to hear, or deciphers the messages of the collective. I ask my guides to give me the messages from the guides of the collective, and this is what they tell me, so this is what I show you. But with this astrological analysis, we talk about the planetary alignments and how they will affect us, or how they could be affecting us on a global scale and as well as in your personal lives. This is why it's important that you get familiar with your chart so that you know what planets are where, right? And that way you can get a better understanding or gauge the energies that could be coming towards you so that you could be prepared for it in whatever way, shape, or possible manner that you could, right? Because when you have information, there's a lot you can do. Knowledge is power. But, this is going to put you in a position where you may have this knowledge, you have the power to do something about it, and now you can make the energy to do, take the effort to do it. So with that being said, let's get to this. This is where the planets are going to be at this month and how they're going to affect us globally. So we're going to start off with Neptune. Neptune is, it's in retrograde right now in Pisces. It's going to go direct on November 30th. So this is how we're kicking off the energies for December, right? So at the time I'm recording this, today's the 27th. So we're in the energies right now, the stationary energies. And then it's going to go the pre-retrograde energies, and then it's going to go full retrograde November 30th. So we've been feeling these energies for at least the past 2 weeks. What I feel like with this energy is with Neptune in retrograde, Neptune is the energy of allowing you to see what's been hidden from you, what people have been pulling the wool over your eyes about, or what you've been pulling the wool over your eyes about. Also, it allows people to see what you've been bullshitting about, right? So it's that type of energy. But when it goes direct, Neptune is the planet of illusions. It allows people, places, things to create an illusion to us, so where we could misunderstand or misinterpret something, right? So now we're going back into the energy where it's going to be kind of more difficult to read people, okay? So we got to be careful, especially with Mercury and Sag, and we'll talk about that. Mercury's in Sag until December 13th. But Mercury's in Sag right now because, well, I feel like the energies should be used in this way. Mercury's about information, okay? It's about information, period. It doesn't have to do with your feelings behind the information. It's just, this is information, okay? When it's in the house of Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the energy of you learning from your past, acquiring wisdom. That's how you acquire wisdom, learning from your past. How do you learn from your past? These are things you actually experienced, right? Where Mercury could just be, oh, well, this is my idea of it. This is what I think is actually it. Sagittarius is, okay, well, I live this. This is what or of the different ideas and the different lifestyles I had. Sagittarius is the opposite polarity of Gemini. It's where you're like, okay, I've decided what I'm going to do. So Mercury really doesn't like Sagittarius because Mercury is like, oh, I got all these ideas. Where in Sagittarius, it's like, okay, you've already had all these ideas. You decided which one is best. And that's the one that you're going to shape your philosophical view on, or your religious or spiritual view on, the way you're going to live your life, right? But, Mercury's coming in there saying, oh, no, wait a minute. And so what may happen for some of us is we may have people come back from the past, different lifestyles or situations we were in. We've experienced them. We've gained the wisdom for them. But now with Mercury here in Sag, it's like, okay, did you really learn from it? Because it's going to be presented to you again to confirm that you've learned from it. If you've learned from it, you're going to recognize the things, the signs and symbols that you didn't recognize up front before. You're going to recognize those red flags. And when you see those red flags, it's just going to be, okay, I need to leave this situation behind. If it's something new, it's the same thing. It's like, do I see similarities? Okay, well, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, then, right, that type of energy. So we have to be careful with Mercury and Sag because sometimes we're not using discernment. But Mercury is there to tell us to look at the facts. Don't worry about how it made you feel. Especially if it was somebody you loved or you cared about or you have feelings. Don't look at feelings. Look at what happened with the situation, right? And so this is why it's a difficult placement for a lot of people, because people don't want to deal with the reality of what happened. They want to deal with what they want to happen or what they think should have happened. So we got to be careful with things coming towards us with this energy. You know, look at the facts. So that's what Mercury and Sag. But we're dealing with Capricorn now. All right. We're still talking about, we're still talking about Neptune. Because Neptune direct, there's a lot of positive energy coming from that. This is going to be an energy where, you know, it's wintertime too. So for those of us who go into the lab, you know, and you know who you are, we go into the lab and we do whatever it is we do in the lab. Whether we're experimenting on things, whether we're doing research, whether we're writing, whether we're painting, whether we're sculpting, whether we're, you know, meditating, whatever it is that we do when we go in the lab. This is the season for it. This is also the season to look for new things that inspire you, as far as if you really like music. There's going to be I feel like there's a lot of dope music coming out. So I discovered an artist that I liked. I forgot his name already. Damn it. I forgot his name already. But yeah, this is a good time to discover new music, okay? This is a good time for people to, you know, if you're feeling inspired, this is that energy. Especially with Neptune going direct. So it's a beautiful thing with that. And it's in Pisces. So, you know, we're talking about people, you know, going places and zoning out. Being by themselves. Getting into their energy. And being able to create and manifest from that. So the spring, you know, check out new music. Check out new art. I feel like people want to be inspired by new things. Based on the changes we went through. So people's tastes are going to be changing. People are going to be out there looking for new art. Looking for new music. Looking to, you know, revamp themselves. I want to change my hair color. I want to change my hairstyle. Or, you know, I want to change the way I dress. Or I want to switch up my, you know, whatever. Right? So that type of energy is very creative energy. Right? The movies are going to be out right now. A lot of people are going to be watching movies. A lot of people are going to be making independent films. A lot of things are going to be going on YouTube. You know, these types of platforms. You're going to see a lot of creativity. It's going to be beautiful. I love this energy. It's amazing. I could feel it with my Neptune placements. So, you know, there's good vibes with that. Then we got Capricorn. We got 3 planets that are going to be in Capricorn as of the 13th of December. We got Pluto, Mercury, and Venus, right? Venus is going to go retrograde on the 19th. Capricorn is the energy of us being, you know, ambitious, conservative, but disciplined, very methodical. It's like you putting a blueprint together. It's like, okay, we're going to build this house, right? How do you build a house? Well, first of all, you got to put the blueprint together. You got to get with the architecture. You got to look at the design. You got to look at, you know, putting everything together, all the elements together to put a plan in place, right? And then what happens is, what Capricorn does is, this is the earth sign energy. Right? It's cardinal earth. So it's if you want to see a building, this is a great way to look at it. If you want to see a building, Taurus represents the building, right? Capricorn represents the blueprint that you look at. Okay, well, what's the building's metrics? What materials are we going to use? This is what we're going to use. Virgo represents the worker. Virgo is going to break it down and say, okay, yeah, we can do this. We can make this done. We can build this type of rock. You know, this type of concrete is the best type of concrete to use for this type of building or this type of structure. And then it'll put it's Virgo is the worker, all right, the servant in the most positive way, okay. But it's the servant of the zodiac. So you know, Virgo will do the work, right, and then Taurus. So Virgo will build the building. You know, they'll say, okay, this is what we knew, and then Taurus will represent the building once it's well established and built, right. So Capricorn is the blueprint. So we're talking about Venus and Neptune. I'm sorry, Venus being there and Pluto being there. These are money planets. You know, people don't look at Pluto as a money planet, but it is. Pluto rules Scorpio. Where do you think the money aspect comes when we're talking about other people's money? You know, money you get from other people, whether you join businesses with them, whether you somebody passes away and leaves you money, an inheritance, an estate, life insurance. All of these things are ruled by Pluto. And that happens in the house of Scorpio. So we're dealing with Pluto and Venus. Venus deals with your money. You know, Venus is ruled by Taurus. Taurus is the money you make, right? So we're dealing with the Taurus the Taurus North Node, Scorpio South Node energy that's going to be coming in on January 18th. You know, we're changing nodes. So this is setting us up for this. right? Pluto rules Scorpio. Venus rules Taurus. So we got Pluto and Venus in the house of cardinal Earth. But we also got Mercury there. So what Mercury wants you to do is say, okay, yeah, this is what we're going to build, but let's look at the facts. Let's look at the logistics. Let's make sure that, you know, this is what we're going to do. What ideas do we have in order to make this work? With Venus going in retrograde, we're also going to be dealing with people looking back at their relationships, their past relationships, the toxicity about them. Because, you know, Capricorn rules the devil. The devil energy talks about the toxicities in our lives, the things that we let control us. You know, it's simply the things that get out of balance and that we don't have control over. That's what the devil energy is. So when we look at that in Capricorn, a lot of it has to do with our reputation, how we see ourselves, our morals. That's what makes us go overboard. You know, not having morals or not exercising or putting in place laws and rules as far as what we should be doing versus what we shouldn't be doing on an individual level. Yeah, on a global level, we're talking about government with Capricorn. So we're dealing with Pluto, dealing with that as well. Like Pluto deals with annuities. Venus deals with like annuities, capitalism itself, jewels. So, you know, we're looking at the cost and the price of things in the stock market. You know, we're looking at Venus and Pluto. We're looking at that energy, other people's money, right? And Mercury is having a lot of information about it. So we're going to see a lot of this type of stuff on the news. You're going to be watching business owners, CEOs being replaced and brought in, right? If you pay attention to what's going on in business. For those of you who, you know what time it is and you research, when you research a company, one of the things you want to research before you invest in them is you want to look at their reports, their annual reports. Or if they're a publicly traded company, you can get this stuff online. So you go online and you pull this information up. And what you do is you look at their board of directors when you look at their annual report. If you see the board of directors changing up, people switching positions, that's an indication to you that there's new blood coming in. They're changing direction. That's that Pluto energy, Pluto's death and rebirth. So this is what we're going to be seeing with Pluto and Capricorn. Venus in retrograde, Venus is what we value. So when Venus goes in retrograde on the 19th, we're going to be looking at, okay, what is valuable? Is gold valuable? Is our emeralds valuable? What value do they have? So we're going to have a whole new value system as far as what we're looking at. And you're going to see that reflected in the stocks, what people are investing in, what they're not investing in. So it's very important to pay attention if you got stocks and you're looking at what's going on with the market. Very important to watch this, and I'm going to be watching it myself. Mercury is going to be that information that comes through to tell you what's going on. It's not going to care how you feel. It has nothing to do with your feelings. It's like, this is what's going on. So you're going to decide with Venus in retrograde, is this something I should do? Do I value this? Is it going to bring me value? Does it make sense? Does it make money? Pluto is going to be like, no, it doesn't make money. Kill it. Or Pluto's going to be like, yeah, we can make money, but we have to change it up. Rebirth. You see? So this is what we're dealing with Capricorn, with Pluto, Mercury, and Venus there. Very important in your chart, wherever Capricorn is. Let's move on to the next thing we want to talk about, which is Saturn and Aquarius. Saturn's still in Aquarius, all right? It went direct in, a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving. It went direct in the beginning of November, right? Saturn is all about restrictions, where Jupiter is all about, the things you can have, the glass half full. Saturn is the opposite. It's the glass half empty, right? And it's in Aquarius. So we're looking at your restrictions, where you're constricted at. Globally, it's in the house of Aquarius for us. So, Saturn represents rules. It represents the government, right? Aquarius represents the free individual, the one who rebels against, whatever somebody else is trying to make you do. It's like you're going to be you regardless. That's that Aquarius energy. So the people in the society, in our private lives, which is where we're seeing the government with Saturn come in, telling us what we should, what we shouldn't do. And a lot of us are in that Aquarius energy of, no, this is not what's going on. If you take a look at what's going on all over the world, if you're watching news online, you'll see that a lot of countries are protesting these situations here with us going to the doctor, being made to go to the doctor, right? So countries all over the world are in a similar situation as far as what we're experiencing. So this is like a global thing going on where people are told they got to take this versus they can't, versus they don't have a choice. So a lot of protests going on with that. So we see that with Saturn and Aquarius. We got Uranus in retrograde in Taurus. I thought I talked about that, but I guess I did not. Okay, yeah, I didn't yet. So with Uranus, Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It's the planet of protest. It rules Aquarius, okay? So we got, Uranus in retrograde in the house of Taurus. Taurus is your values, your self-worth, the things you possess based on, the things who make you feel like, okay, this is what makes me feel important. I have a house. The things that you buy that represent who you are is like Taurus, right? The opposite polarity of that is Scorpio. So that's the psychological understanding of why it makes you feel that way. That's why Scorpio is known as the psychology or the psychologist of the zodiac, because it's what makes you tick, the hidden shit that nobody knows about. So this is what we're dealing with when we're dealing with the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. That's going to change up on the 18th. Uranus is in Taurus right now in retrograde, and it's going to go direct on January 18th. So this is very important, and I feel like the last, like I said, we're in the 29th degree of Gemini with the North Node before it switches over to Taurus on January 18th. It's in the last node of Gemini. If I'm not mistaken, that North Node, that node or that degree is ruled by Uranus, if I'm not mistaken. And so, yeah, because I did see that in a couple places that I was checking out that information. But and Uranus is going to go direct on the same day that the Taurus node changes. So it makes perfect sense. But, Taurus is what we value. Uranus is like, okay, I don't know if I want that anymore. So, if we look at the card that represents Taurus in Tarot, we're looking at the Hierophant. The Hierophant represents tradition, right? It represents the traditions that we have, the staples that we have in society. So, some people look at the Hierophant as a church, your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs, right? And how you manifest them in the material realm, because that's what Taurus is about. What's important to you, what's valuable to you. So churches, mosques, synagogues, these are things that are important to people. But with Uranus here, Uranus is all about going astray from these types of groups that tell you what is important to you, what you should value. All right, those are religions, right? For some people, right? That's what they tell you to value. Value what your religion tells you to value. And so some people are rebelling against that with the Uranus energy in retrograde. Why do I believe this? I believe this because this is what I was taught growing up. Well, I'm starting to think of things differently now. I'm starting to see things different. So the universe globally is waking up. That's Uranus and Taurus. Values and belief systems are changing based on, okay, this is what it was, but this is how I see differently now because of what I've experienced. And so this is what we're seeing now the world is going towards. It's like, no, I'm coming out of this negative energy and I'm going towards something that's going to be more peaceful and positive for me. And so that's what this whole Uranus and retrograde in Taurus is all about. So keep that in mind. And like I said, I'll do a separate video. I don't know if I said that to you, but I will do a separate video with the North Node in Taurus, South Node Scorpio energy, and how that's going to affect us. And I'll do it sometime between now and January 18th, because that's when the nodes change. And then we have the solar eclipse, right? On December 4th, we have a solar eclipse going on. 2 weeks ago from this date, December 4th, we had the partial lunar eclipse. Now, these are nodal changes, right? The eclipses are. Solar eclipse happens during the day. The lunar eclipse happens at night. But what's going on here is the nodes are changing. The Gemini North Node is changing. It's going into transition. It's in the 29th degree of Gemini, which is ruled by Uranus. And then on January 18th, Uranus goes direct in Taurus, which is going to be the new North Node. All right? So we're setting up lunarly for those energies to change. So we're going to be feeling a lot of emotion. A lot of people are going to be feeling a lot of emotion. But this is good energy for you to manifest or put intentions out there for your manifestations. New moons are always great for that. All right? And if we're dealing with Sag, we're dealing with, intentions out there in reference to tapping into your higher self, understanding, what's important to you as far as your spiritual, your religious beliefs. If you're not spiritual or religious, then your philosophy on life based on your experiences. This is what Sagittarius is dealing with here, right? So the new moon there represents new things that you've learned. What new ideas have you come up with in reference to the way that you live your life, your philosophy on things? What have you experienced that's telling you, no, I should change it this way? I was raised Catholic, but now I see that there's some things in reference to the Catholic belief that don't sit well with me. So does that mean that I can't be Catholic? And so that's when people start to deviate from a religion and they do their own thing and become spiritual. It's like I can take on some of the, I can respect and relate to some of the energies of the Catholic religion. And I can relate and respect some of the energies of Buddhist beliefs. I can relate and respect to some of the beliefs of Muslim. But I don't want to be full-fledged saying that I got to be a Muslim or I got to be a Catholic. Like, why can't I just incorporate the most important parts or the things that resonate? And that's what spirituality is for some. But for others, they just create their own rules. But a lot of it is based off of what they've learned as far as religion. So a lot of people are going through that transition out of, okay, marriages. I was in this marriage. I don't want to be in it anymore. Uranus in retrograde in Taurus. I was a part of this family, but I don't want to be in this family anymore. Or people are stepping away from you. Uranus in retrograde in Taurus. People selling their homes. We're talking about physical, physical manifestations, physical property. That's Taurus. People selling their homes. We see over the last year, we saw a lot of tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, natural disasters going on all over the world, right? And so that's what Uranus in retrograde in Taurus represents. Taurus is the physical structures, the physical earth. So, Uranus was like that tsunami that came through, or that earthquake that came through, or that flood that came through. That's what Uranus is, right? So we saw a lot of that going on in different areas. It could be, fire alarm going off in your building, that type of thing. Pipes burst in a public building, where the building has got to get shut down, or, something's going on with the electricity. So, things like that, right? Uranus and Taurus. Now, let's move on. We talked about the solar eclipse, the new moon in Sag, coming up on December 4th. And Mars is in Scorpio until December 13th. Mars goes into Sag on December 13th. So right now, Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. All right. So Mars is all about what you do when your back is up against the wall. How do you fight? How do you go through? And when it's in Scorpio, it's about fighting, your hidden feelings about a situation. It's like you have to go through an adjustment period psychologically when something affects you. And it's like, this is where it happens in the house of Scorpio. Depending on how you handle it, could depend on how toxic it could be. But it could also deal with, people who are not able to deal with things. But it just depends, So we can go dark, but it doesn't have to be that dark. But it definitely represents a change that people have to get up for. And not everybody's built for that. So that's why it could be more toxic for some than others. But, Mars is the god of war, right? And, we know when we're dealing with the 8th house, we're dealing with energies that happen when you connect with other people. So some people could be at war right now. People arguing, people fighting, legally or illegally, because we know Scorpio, the 8th house, deals with criminal activities. All right, things that are hidden. Most of the things that are hidden are things that are considered illegal, criminal things. Things that are shunned upon in society, which is the opposite polarity of Scorpio. Taurus, the traditions of society, versus Scorpio, the underbelly of it, the psychology of it, right? So we got Mars there, so it's going to be a pretty interesting energy. We've seen some things go on, if you've been looking at the news, various situations that have gone on with this Mars and Scorpio transit. People, putting themselves in situations here where they're dealing with they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it could have been avoided type of thing. That would be the difference. Some wrong place, wrong time, you just don't know, it just happens. But, certain circumstances where people we just saw a lot. I'll just say, you know, if you look at the astral world situation and look at what happened with Pluto is squaring Mars. Pluto's in Capricorn. Mars is in Scorpio. And depending on, you know, if you have a natal Pluto and Scorpio placement, you know, you got to be careful where you are, where you be. You know, speaking of which, we're talking about young, what's his name? Young Dolph. Yeah, I think he has Pluto and Scorpio placement. So when Pluto is squaring Mars, you know, Mars is violence, that type of thing, you know. So you got to be careful where you are and what you're doing with Mars. Mars is going into Sag on the 13th. So this is you fighting for your beliefs, people fighting for what they believe in, what they feel is right, their spiritual, religious beliefs, their philosophical views. So we're going to be seeing a lot of protests. That's going to coincide with Saturn and Aquarius. So all over the world, we see people, you know, like I said, protesting about one of the most important things that are going on globally in reference to people's free will. So you see people everywhere protesting. What else we got going on here? Mercury. We talked about Mercury. Mercury's all about the information, looking at the facts. Also, it's going to be about what we're going to see on the news, various news outlets, what we're going to be seeing online. We're going to be seeing this Pluto-Venus energy play out in Capricorn heavily. It's going to be all over the news, whether it's going to be on TV, online, the internet, wherever you know what I mean? You're going to be able to see it everywhere, right? So just remember, you know, what I was talking to you about in reference to that, and take a look around. Then we got Chiron. Chiron is the energy of Chiron's an asteroid, and it's the energy of a person who his story basically sums up to be: we all have issues. We all have things that have happened to us that have scarred us. Whether the scars are actually visible or not, it's visible in our psyche. We know it's there because we react and respond and deal with things based off of those scars from the past. So that's what Chiron represents. Yeah, you know, I was in an accident, but I'm still able to move forward. You know, the unfortunate things that happen to us, but yet we still have to move on. So wherever Chiron is, whatever house is in your chart, that's the area of life where you're going to have to be able to persevere, right? And the sign that it shows up under is going to be, you know, how that's going to, the characteristics that it may manifest in. So you want to look at Chiron. Chiron's in Aries right now. So with Chiron being in Aries, you know, Aries is, you know, if we're looking at learning lessons, right, from our behavior and still being able to move on and not being bitter from it. You know, Chiron was a healer. He was wounded himself, but he still went on to heal people even while he was wounded. His wounds never healed. He went through a lot of his life with the wounds that he had from, you know, the shot that he got on the back of his leg. And he went a long time still healing and teaching with that wounded leg. It never healed. And so, you know, his story at the end, it was like he asked for, you know, death because he was in pain, constant struggle from that wound that never healed. So that's who Chiron represents to us. It's a wound that never heals that we just have to keep on working with, right? So Chiron is in retrograde. So when it's in retrograde, we're thinking about these wounds that we've acquired. You know, it's like, okay, I still got to move on, but it still bothers me. You know, this could have to do with people passing away, you know, us missing family and friends, things like that, or just some things that have affected us in a way where it's like, all right, it's always going to be with me, but I got to move on. Now, December 19th is when it goes direct. So it's like we're going through a healing process right now. You know, from some of the things that we went through that we know we're not going to heal from. There's an acceptance there that we had to deal with in Scorpio season. That was the metamorphosis we had to go through, which a lot of us didn't want to go through. And then when it went into Sag season, like right now, we're learning from it. We're taking the wisdom from the experience. And so the experience, Chiron has us looking at it when it's in retrograde. And so now we're ready to move on because we're coming out of Sag season, right? So we should have looked at that experience, looked at the pain it caused, and said, okay, I still have to persevere and move on. So December 19th is when that energy is going to start picking up more so. All right? So that's Chiron. And then finally, we got, I talked about Jupiter and Aquarius, right? Yeah, I did. I talked about that. So that's basically, and don't forget, December 21st, we're going into Capricorn season. Capricorn is cardinal Earth, okay? Cardinal Earth. You know, of the earth signs, Capricorn is the blueprint. It's the one who puts the plan in place. It's like, okay, I'm going to get everybody together. This is what we're going to do. You do this. You do that. This is why Capricorn is known as the boss of the zodiac. And why, you know, Capricorn people can pretend to be bossy. Is because Capricorn has a positive way of being able to see, all right, I see your skill. I see what you're good at. I see what you're not good at. I see what you're great at. So this is why they say, okay, well, you could do this. I want you to do that. And then people may look at it like, oh, you're being too bossy. But that's the Capricorn energy. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, when December 21st comes in, that's what people are going to be planning their blueprint out. They're going to be like, okay, who can I put in place to do this? So you're going to have a lot of business owners coming in, stepping up, starting their businesses. All right? Everything is revolving. You know, we got Capricorn here with Pluto there. Pluto's about death and rebirth. Capricorn is about the boss. All right? So you got a lot of businesses who are going to have to change the way they do things because of the monumental changes society's going through. So if they don't change and adapt to the times and use that Pluto energy to, okay, yeah, we can't do it this way no more, but we can change up and do it like this, then they'll be able to survive. You know, for example, look at the industry with the records, actual records, and then CDs and tapes and DVDs. It's like if you were somebody who made records when DVDs were being introduced, if you didn't get into the DVD market, you're not going to capitalize. Your business is going to end up falling apart, right? There is a small market for it, but it's nowhere near as lucrative as if you switch to DVDs or, CDs, whatever it is you switch to. But if you was a company who got up on that, and this is the time we're in for companies. It's like, okay, it's time for them to go through a change. Creative destruction. Out with the old, in with the new. All right? So a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is why I say that Neptune energy as well, is going to be a great energy for people to start putting together what it is that they envision. You know, because Capricorn rules your creative, not Capricorn, Neptune. It rules your creative imagination. So Neptune going direct at the same time where we got Pluto and Capricorn and Venus in Capricorn and Mercury. We're going to see advancements in technology. We're going to see advancements in the way people make money off of others. Businesses just helping others. It's going to be like a collective energy of businesses working with each other, merging with each other, is what I'm seeing here too. So that's what I got for you guys for the astrological analysis for the month of December. If you need a personal reading, reach out to me. My information is in the box below. And happy November, or happy, we'll say goodbye to November. Happy December. Happy birthday to all the Sagittarius in the building, right? And this is going to be a beautiful December. It feels good to me. I like the energy. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, guys, I'll see you in the readings for the month for December.